Yo, yo, Tony D back. I have Batman, Gargoyle of Gotham, #1, Rafael Grampa. That's an interesting name with Matthew Lopes. I was at the LCS. I've had this on a want list for quite a while. It's a Frank Miller cover, and I totally enjoy this cover. This is really good. And that was the only reason why I bought it. And then I read it, and I was, wow, this is interesting. It's definitely worth a review. I don't know much about Raphael, but when I read this, I was really impressed. I don't know how far in his career he is, but the writing is really good. And this writing here sets you up of how Gotham is. And it's your typical type stuff. There's a lot of crime, of course. And this is what hooked me in. You immediately get to some action. And it really brings your basic Batman bringing the fear and just taking guys down the way Batman, the way he does. And then you have this interesting villain. This is another thing that really hooked me in. I'm ready for issue 2. That's why it's good. So they're in here, they're making explosives, and the writing just sets up the paneling artwork just perfect. We get to this, and boom, there's our guy. And it's definitely mature content, but that didn't bug me none. But they hear a scream, and it's who is screaming. It's one of their guys, and it's just pulling out of the darkness. And then Batman is pretty brutal in this. That's how I like my Batman, with some brutality. And then he gives this guy a poke in the eye. You just have to read it. I definitely would recommend that if you haven't gotten into this, it's definitely worth a read, especially if you're a big Batman fan. And the artwork, it's really good. This villain, just the way he's crying, is just really interesting. And we'll see more of that as we go along. And Raphael draws a really good Batman. I totally dig this. It's unique, it's fresh, and I'm glad I ran into this. The way they segment out his cape there, it's a good fresh take. So Batman's putting everything together, and he knows there's more to go here, and so he runs into what a setup for a villain. And this villain he's into this cartoon right here, and I'll get into what that cartoon is. And even the narration of the villain it's just done artfully well. He even looks a cartoonish type iteration of that. And the way he just standing there, what an awesome splash page with the hammer and the blood. Black, white, and red is always a good color combination. Don't know why, it's just very striking. They start getting into the fisticuffs, and this guy is surprising him, and he gets the drop on Batman pretty much, and he lets Batman have it. He lets him have it so bad that Batman's unconscious. The guy could have kept going, but he let him live, and this place just explodes. So he's calling for Alfred. So in this iteration, Alfred plays a huge role in Batman's doings, and Gordon's here. They're investigating some crimes that are going on, and they're pretty bad. The MO is really graphic. So it's your usual, hey, the police really don't Batman, that type of stuff. And then we get into people's thoughts in here, and this is really interesting where they show the faceless type people, how the elites, politicians are just the elite puppets to turn the poor into a faceless mass, and they do a really good job showing that. The writing is on point too. I'm totally into this. So you have a newspaper type or a website type person there stirring it up. So she'll probably play a role here. And this gets really interesting where Batman is telling Alfred that he's going to get rid of the Bruce Wayne, kill Bruce Wayne, where he can focus solely on being Batman because he's not getting the job done. That's a pretty fresh take there. And I was impressed by that concept. So Batman's helping out Gordon as usual, and this serial killer is pretty brutal. What a nice shot. Totally dig that artwork. The costume it's on point. It really gives me a feeling that this is an earlier iteration, especially with the buckles. But that's an excellent picture there. And then you get a little religious overtone there. Good panel work. And so now this is our guy here. He's obsessed with this cartoon that he's into. And this is the guy that bought the rights to it. Unhinged big time. And the way they draw him dark, and he starts drawing something with some chalk. And this made me think of Silence of the Lambs. So we're on that level, that type of dude. The cartoon character's thing is that it cries a lot. So this guy, he's mimicking this. So he has this very unhealthy fixation, I might add. And I thought this was a real cool picture of the climbing. I got lost in it. I had to stop, and I literally was tracing these lines like, okay, how does this work in here? So that's a good sign of some great artwork detail. Made me reflect on maybe this is in earlier years of Batman. One thing I noticed about this artist, there's other artists that do this, that just my viewpoint is they draw the heroes really well and the villains, but when you get into regular people, it really gets lost in a cartoon caricature type thing. So it's a little detail. That's what we're here for. It's a review. So this is the wife of the cartoon character's creator. He's passed on. And they're trying to get some clues from that. That's why they're getting into that. And Gordon is questioning, this man was in prison with a Dr. Geist. I'm trying to remember, I can't remember the connection with that. But this guy pretty much doesn't give him what he needs, thinks he's being smart, but our guy Gordon, he's a detective himself, looks at the logbooks, and there's a Charles Quentin that keeps visiting. So he got his stuff. This is when things really get action-packed. So this car is the blind machine that he's calling it. It's an armored, you can't see out. It's all radar enhanced. It's an upgraded, fresh, unique take on the Batmobile. And there's some other cool gadgets that he uses in here that's fresh and unique. I'll get to that. We're fixing to see it where he can increase his hearing. So he increases it 50%. He has infrared vision on. So a lot of voice command type stuff. And that villain is in here. He gets him with an anvil just like a cartoon. So this guy, he's emulating this cartoon character. So he's fixated on it. And he's crying. He starts just to do that. He just tells you why. He gets our guy again, gets the drop on him. And so Batman, he wakes up. The narration here is really good. How, he's got to save this guy because he took him hostage, this fella. And, oh, there's our place, Asylum. Getting into more clue work. Batman had his bell rung. He snaps his neck back in place and he can't move his legs. He calls for the blind machine. And he's driven. That driven aspect. So the blind machine comes. I just can't get over how cool the car is. And it's really a prototype and they're just testing it right now. So another piece that makes me think this is an early iteration of our guy. So the cabin is made of impenetrable metal. He calls it a coffin. It's foreshadowing. So he kicks a guy out of the vehicle. So that buys him time. Batman can't have that. So he launches out. Great shot. Totally liking this artwork. Oh, and right here too. Excellent. So, yeah, it's cool how it's 3 hooks that he shoots out. And so the blind machine, he pretty much, it continues the pursuit, which is cool. And what a shot. Love how the cape, the line work, that's pretty powerful. He's even talking about how he's got to pull this off. And he hurts his shoulder, rips it out of place. So the blind machine is still in pursuit. And right here, so he gives it a command, side swipe, intercept. And so it uses its will to do a flip. But Batman realizes that it's a mistake, and I think he almost kills the driver. But it is a prototype. Batman comes to the rescue, and our villain has a hostage. And Batman's pretty smart. He gets the film of the cartoon character, and he's like, let her go, or I'll flame this up. And the minute he gives it a little singe, that gun drops. You win. And he taunts Batman that, hey, I had you twice. Oh, and in Arkham Asylum, this is important too. Gordon is going through a list here in the children's wing, and he's looking up names. And I love how they go back and forth with the villain and this part. Batman knows that he was spared, but he's playing it off. And you get this boom. He says, I see a child playing, chasing his shadows. But when you chase your own shadows, it leads to the abyss. So Bruce Wayne is on this list. What an ending. Getting into the Frank Miller covers led me to this. So I thought it was worthy, man. This is a good story. That Rafael Grampa, I'm going to have to do some more research on him. If you know anything about him, drop a comment and get my education jump started. That's what it's all about for me. If you want to see more, let me know. I'll do the other 2 issues. I have them sitting in the mega shop. But yeah, just a fresh new take. It's amazing how these writers and artists, they never cease to amaze. Batman has been around since the beginning of time. It feels like the 40s. And they're still cranking this stuff out. But yeah, if you're a Batman fan, outro, get it.